Now, here is one parable which many people find to be very unfair. All right? The key word here is unfair. People don't like this parable because of the way it rewards people. Okay? So I want to step back before the parable. I want you to understand how come Jesus gave this parable. All right? And it starts in chapter 19. Peter said to Jesus. All right? So Peter said to Jesus, "Behold, we have forsaken all." Look, we gave up our fisherman's life. We gave up all our what we used to know, and we followed you, Jesus. All right? Now look at the last part of this. What shall we have, therefore? Well, come on, Jesus. You call us, right? So we gave up what we had to follow you. But, now remember, this is the book of Matthew. The book of Matthew is written for the Jews. So the Jewish people, they know the law very well. Okay, so once again, let's go back to the basics, the fundamentals. Under the law, if you do good, you get good, all right? So you are going to get rewarded if you do something. So basically, that is what Peter, all right? Remember, he's now following Jesus, but he still knows the law. And he says, look, I have done this, I have followed you, so what is my reward? What do I get? Because I do good, I'm going to get some good back, all right? What shall we have, all right? What, all of us disciples, we followed you, Jesus, we gave up things. We gave up, we were not with our families, we are not with our mothers, we are not with our family, because we are on the road with you, Jesus. So what do you think we should get in return? All right? And then immediately after that, there's a few more lines before this, after this scripture, before we come to 20. But let's jump to 20, because Jesus gave the parable to answer this question, all right? So chapter 20, verse 1. Okay, so here's a parable which many of you are familiar with, and let us read this parable together. So remember, Jesus is answering the question that was asked of him. What are we going to get? Because we gave up. We are Jewish people, we gave up. Come on, tell us what's our reward. For the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is a householder, which went out early in the morning to hire laborers into his vineyard. All right? So, this is a parable about people who are working, laborers. Why? Because Peter says, look, we did this, we are like laborers, because remember, their minds were not completely revealed yet. That Jesus was not revealed to them completely in all of his glory, because this was before the cross. So they were still bound by the law. They worked. They were laborers. So Jesus gave them a parable about laborers. All right? And this is a very common thing which you see. There are people standing around waiting to be hired. All right? So there was a man, a master, who went out early in the morning. So he went out early in the morning to hire laborers to work in his vineyard. All right? Let's move on. When he had agreed with the laborers, so he told the laborers what the reward would be. In this case, because it's a parable, is for a penny a day. So he says, okay, how many of you at the very start, this is what I'm going to give to you? And the laborers saw it and says, yes, we will work in your vineyard for you for this reward. So he sent them into his vineyard. All right? Let's move on. And then, of course, you know the meaning of most of these things already. So the chosen few first, All right, there was always the chosen few first. They already started working. But as time went on, the master went out later on, in the third hour now, and saw others standing idly in the marketplace. There were other people out there. They didn't come into the vineyard to work until later on. This is now the third hour. So hours have passed. Master went out again, saw other people, and what happened? And said to these people, go you, all of you, you're standing by here on the third hour, you also go into my vineyard, and whatsoever is right I will give you. So he talked to them and he says, okay, when you come into my vineyard, this is what I will give to you. And they went their way. They said, okay, we agree to this reward, so we are going to go into the vineyard too. Next verse. Okay, now look at that. So are there people now in the vineyard? Yes. Remember, there was those at the start, then there were the ones who went on the third hour, but there are still more people out there. Remember, the kingdom of heaven is for everybody. But you have to want to go to the vineyard. When you're in the vineyard, you are attached to, come on, attached to the vine. And who is the vine? Jesus. All right? I mean, you probably know all of these explanations, but we'll see how the ending is, all right? So he went on the 6th hour now, all right? And the 9th hour, all right? So now way late in the day, the master is still going out there and did likewise. What did he do before? He went out there, he saw people, and he says, would you like to come in my vineyard? Here is your reward if you come into my vineyard. All right? And the people say, yeah, of course. We love this reward. All right? We love this. So they went into the vineyard. Then he went out again, saw more people. Would you like to come in my vineyard? All right? And the people say, yes. What's the reward? And he told them the reward. And they all came in. Some at 0 hour, some at the 3rd hour, some at the 6th, some towards the end of the day, the 9th hour. All right? Let's move on. And about the 11th hour, now it's really towards the end of the day. Sun is setting. The 11th hour, he went out again. Same place, into the world. That's the marketplace out there. And found others. Oh, there are still people out there. And they are standing idle. You see, all of us started in the same place. We just stood there. Well, what are we going to do? How do we get into the vineyard? Well, we don't know. But some others went before. And then others went, and then others went, and then others went. And now, at the 11th hour, there are more people out there. And they are still standing there. And he says to them, why do you stand here all the day idle? You know, remember, the invitation was given way before. But those people, they're still standing there. You know, we're standing there. Hey, invitation given, we didn't want. Invitation given again, we didn't want. Invitation given again, we didn't want. Now the 11th hour, the same invitation came. Come into my vineyard. Why did you stand here all day? You could have been in my vineyard on the 0 hour, on the 1st hour. Let's move on. Then they say to him, because no man hired us. Wait a second, it was all there at the start. He says to them, look, you go into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, that's the reward. You shall receive. So all of you, in the 11th hour, the last hour, you also go into the vineyard, and you will get your reward as well. All right? Next verse. So when even was come, the Lord of the vineyard says to his steward, okay, now he has many people in his vineyard. Some were first, some were middle, some were last. They're all in his vineyard. All right? So he called. He says, okay, all you laborers, because remember, this is for Peter. Peter believed that he was laboring. He worked. So he's called all the laborers. That's why it's given in a parable which Peter and the rest of the people could understand. He says, call all of them together and give them their hire. What was the reward? Give to them. What was the payment? Give to them. Beginning from the last to the first. Now look at this. Everybody is going to get what they agreed for, right? Because remember, it was told to you first what you're going to get when you come into the vineyard. So remember, Jesus is talking to Peter and the disciples. So Jesus said, okay, all of you now come in. And now I'm going to reward you. But look at the order in which the reward came. Beginning from the last to the first. Now, immediately, how do you think some of those disciples felt? Wait a second, something is already starting to go wrong here in this parable. Beginning from the last to the first. But wait a second. What about me, who have worked so hard? Shouldn't we be paid first? And not only first, but more, right? Okay, let's move on. Let's see what the answer is. When they came that were hired about the 11th hour, they received every man a penny. Everybody got the same reward, all right? Next verse. But when the first came, remember, the last were paid first. So all the last got their reward. Here is your reward. Here is your reward. Here is your penny. Here is your penny. All right? So here. They all got it. And then all the last ones who came, the one who came on the 11th hour, the 9th hour, the 6th hour, the 3rd hour, now it's moving back. The clock is moving backwards, right? Now it moves back right to the start. The first people who were chosen, the Jewish people. Because they always believe, hey, we were the first. When the first came, they supposed that they should have received what? More. Look, they likewise received every man a penny. These are the people who were at the start with Jesus. We were with you, Jesus. We followed you, Jesus. Look, we shared you. We went out. We did this. Do good, get good. Yeah, we see, we did it. Let's see what other responses these people say, all right? And when they had received it, so they received their reward as well. What did they do? They were very thankful and joined all the others, and they all feasted. What is written here? They what? Murmured against the goodman of the house. Hey, what did you receive? Well, I got this reward. But wait a second. Did you see those people who came at the end? They received the same reward as we did. Man, it is so unfair. It is so unfair. This is what I call the unfair parable. I mean, if you work in this world, which all of us do, in one way or another, this parable will absolutely say to you, God is unfair. God is the good man of the house, and God is a very unfair God. How can it be possible? How is it possible that God can give the same reward to the person who worked all day. The same reward is then given to the person who came in at the end. It is completely unfair, and that is why this parable is rejected. It is rejected because it is unfair. You see, look, I was a professor, and I taught production. All right? So I'll give you a simple production example. You are on the assembly line, all right? So you produce, in our classes we call it widgets. Widgets is a thing which doesn't exist, but it's something that you produce. So if you produce one widget, you get $10. Okay? So if you stand there on the production line and you put together the widget, put this, you produce one, you get $10. So if you produce 5 widgets, how much should you be paid? Hey, no brainer, right? $10 for one, 5 is, come on, $50. That guy over there who is working super fast, super fast, that guy, it seems like he has 8 hands, put everything together, and he produced 10 widgets. How much do you think that guy or that woman should be paid? $10 one, you produce 10, you are paid $100. Okay, so that's your pay for that day, $100. So at the end of the day, you chalk up what you produce, right? So how many did you produce, okay? All right, you produce 5, okay? So $50 to you today. You produce 100, you produce 10, so you get 100, and so on. So everybody is all over the scale. Some people produce 2, some people produce 6, some people produce 9, and the top one produce 10, $100. All right? Then you come back tomorrow and you work again, and then you count again. All right, how many did you produce? Okay, so you got better today. So now, yesterday you produced 5, today you produced 7. So how much money do you think you earned today? $70, right? So yesterday you make $50, today you make $70, now you have $120. So you total it up for the week, and here's your paycheck. We all understand this very, very well. Of course, if you multiply it out, like you produce 100 units, then you make $1,000 that week. And some people can do that. So they are top, they are top producers, top salespeople, top of everything, and they make all this money. It's all based upon how good you are. And that's what Peter and the disciples knew as well. Do good, get good. Do earlier in the day, should be paid more. I should be paid more. Of course I should be paid more. Because, hey, you chose me, I followed you, I did the work, you pay me more. My reward should be bigger than the other person. Because I did more work. All right, remember the question that Peter asked. Look, we gave up, we followed you. At the end was what? What is our payment? Jesus, tell us what's our payment. And then Jesus gave this parable. And like I said, people don't like this parable. If you work very hard, you do not like this parable. Remember Martha and Mary? Martha was welcoming Jesus and his disciples into the house. When you have guests in the house, what do? Work. Exactly. Work. You cook, you clean, you do everything. And then because they brought all these disciples, every one of them, they were fishermen, they like to eat. So you got to cook a lot. And they don't have that, those nice stoves which you have nowadays. You just program in and boom, here comes the big casserole. All right? There's no such things, all right? You stand over the hot fire and you cook. And the fire can go down, and then the soup is not boiling while you're frying the fish on the other side. You see, everything can go wrong. So you work very hard. And then at the very least, because Jesus came into your house, you expect Jesus to say what? Thank you. Martha, you are the best. You work the hardest. But what did Jesus say to Martha? Nothing. Nothing. I mean, are you serious? Because Jesus commended or praised Mary. But Mary did nothing. What did Mary do? Sat at Jesus' feet and received from Jesus. Oh, Jesus, yeah, I'm just going to sit here, incline at your feet. Okay, Jesus, share with me. Martha thought Jesus was a terrible guest. No thanks. Furthermore, complimented Mary, her sister, when Mary obviously did nothing. You see, it is not about fairness. This is an unfair parable. Yes, 100% unfair parable. All right? Now let's read to the end. They murmured against the good man of the house, saying, okay, let's move on. These last, so these are the people who came in first, who went in first. These last people have wrought, that means they have worked, but 1 hour, 11, they came in the 11th hour, 12th hour, that's it. And you have made them what? Equal to us, which have borne the burden and heat of the day. We are the Jewish people. We work, we followed you, Jesus. We did it. Look at all these other people who came in at the end, and they are equal to us. Jesus, that is so unfair. We have borne the burden. We got persecuted. We got killed. Everything is happening to us. We are the ostracized one. We came in first. Of course, this parable was transposed and used for all Christians. Christians who came to Jesus first and then Christians who came to Jesus last. But actually, the book of Matthew is for the Jewish people. So the Jewish people were the ones who came in first. Jesus called them. And they suffered tremendous persecution if they were to follow Jesus, because that was the law. So it's like you are the rebellious one and you followed the rebellious Jesus. They took the burden, or at least they think so, and the heat of the day. What is my reward, Jesus? Let's move on. The master said, friend, even then, remember, they were supposed to be laborers, and Jesus already changed the way he calls them. Because they always think of themselves as laborers. I work the hardest, I deserve the most. Friend, not laborer. I did you no wrong. Did I not agree with me? Did you all not agree with me for the same reward, the penny? Move on. Take that which is yours and go your way. I will give unto this last, so all these last people, these crowds, these multitudes who came in last, they are given the same reward as to you. Next verse. Is it not lawful for me to do what I will with my own? The master is handing out rewards. He says to them, look, you are arguing based on the law. You want more because you did more. But look at it this way. Is it not lawful for me? Because you see, I am the one who's giving. You see, the disciples, the Jewish people thought they were the ones who were earning. They did it, so they deserve it. Whereas from God's perspective, I am the one giving. I am the one giving. Not you earning or deserving. I am the one giving. Is your eye evil because I am good? You see, the good father delights in giving. But if you don't understand who God is, and your perspective is just like these laborers, it's about, well, I earn it. I earn it. Because I earn it, therefore, I deserve more than the ones who came later. I've been a Christian longer than you have, so therefore, I am better, my rewards are bigger. Remember the widgets? I made 10 widgets because I've been longer a Christian. You a fresh Christian. You don't know anything. One widget, $10. Me, 10,000 widgets. Yes. You see, fair God. God, you are fair. One widget, 10,000 widgets. Who do you think deserves more? Me, of course. Because I did it more. I did more. I did more than you. I'm better than you. I deserve more than you. If there was a standard, I qualify, you don't. But because of grace, you got in too. But you low down scum. You only deserve one. But look at what God says. Your eye is evil, but I'm good. I give, not you earn it. Next verse, last verse. Okay, here comes then the finishing of the parable. So see how Jesus put it. So the last shall be first, and the first last. Many will be called, few chosen. Okay, let's take just one of this. The last shall become first. Remember, this is Jesus talking to the Jews. The Jews believe they were first. All right, I'm first. But he says here, the first will become last, the last will become first. Who do you think the last were? The Gentiles, which were all calling. So you see, all of us here who are not Jewish, and I don't think I see that many Jews here, right? Okay? In fact, maybe none here in this church. So if there's hundreds of us here, all of us were the last to come in. We were all the last. We were all the Gentiles. And Jesus came and says, why are you all standing here? Look, come inside. This is my kingdom. Come inside. And all of us went inside and we received the reward. And the last became blessed and they were now put in the first. And the Jewish people who were there with Jesus, they were the Queen Vashtis. They had the kingdom. They saw the goodness. They saw the blessing. Now these people, God still loves them. As I told you, God loved them. But now they will be last. So the Jewish people, they still enter the vineyard, but they will go in last. The Gentiles, who were the last, because they didn't deserve it, now becomes first. All are called, all were chosen by God. All right? You do not get in by yourself. Everyone